All right, hey, good afternoon. First of all, thank you for coming. I know it's a very exciting and stressful time in your life with maybe your first one's graduating or maybe your last one's graduating and you're going to be an empty nester, but I know either way it's super exciting for you guys. And we want to make this event, first and foremost, we want to make the ceremony as good as we can. So that's the number one part for us, is to make sure we have a good ceremony with graduates, something they can be proud of and something the students really take part in. I visited with the students Tuesday, and we kind of talked about the ceremony and the importance, the role that they play, because I did tell them it is for them, but at the same time it's not. It's for their families who've watched them over the years, and it's also for their classmates. So, you know, if 10 people find something funny, there might be 20 people in the class who don't. So, you know, let's make it a professional ceremony, an honoring ceremony, and just something that we can really enjoy. So that's the first part of it. We want to make sure we have a great ceremony. So when I got here, and I graduated from here, I'm from here, I was the last group to graduate at the stadium. So I graduated in the heat with the, you know, the lights were on the field, so the bugs are out there with you, but I was kind of one of the last ones to graduate at the stadium. And then after that, they went to Lufkin. And then when they passed the bond here, a big push was with that bond that graduation would be held here at the high school. So that is something that we're still trying to honor. But when I did get here, I got here start of the summer, but that was those were probably, of course, it was fresh on everybody's minds, but those were the first things people asked me about. Graduation, they told me some issues with graduation. I don't know if any of you have been, but I know sound was an issue last year. I know there were 2 sets of parents, I know for sure, that did not get to see their student graduate in this building. They were out there. And I know there's some grandparents that didn't get to see. So there were just a lot of things that took place. So I have put a lot of thought into this. How this will work is I'll kind of lay out the plan of how graduation, how we'll try to do it this year. Some of you, it's your first time anyway, and some of you have done it before as well. So, you know, it might be a little different, but at the same time, the ceremony is the most important part. After I give all the information, I'll allow questions. I'll stay here as long as I have to answer those questions and try to clarify anything. Some of your questions might catch me off guard, and I might just have to write it down myself and make sure that I identify the answer to that in due time. So this is kind of how I do my faculty meetings too. I'll give all the information, and then if you're like, all right, I got it, and you want to leave, feel free, and then I'll let all the questions come as we go. That way, you know, you see kind of the funny memes every now and then of a bunch of questions. So this is my first year back, so I did graduate from here. My family's from here, so mom graduated here, brother graduated here, so glad to be back. But after that, I'll go through it and answer as much as I can. So kind of the process, the planning. First, I just wrote down every option possible that I could think of. And at the stadium, with either the stage facing the home side or the stage in the end zone where both sides could see. When I graduated, you couldn't do that because the stadium was still wood seating on the other side. But so that was one of them. Tickets, each graduate gets a certain number, and then that's it. Whoever has a ticket can come. Those who don't can't. A fast pass ticket, which means if you have a ticket, you get to seat an hour before everybody else. Sam Houston State, and not Angelina, but Lufkin, the church over there, or just do it the same way we've always done it and try to tweak some things and see if I can fix some things that people complained about. So I went through a whole process. I then invited some families up, just about 10 families, just to talk to them, and I presented it to them. And once again, this is more of me just showing my thought process, just so people know kind of where I was heading. Then I presented all those options to the board and said kind of where some feedback was from people I talked to. And then I went back to the board again, and then we kind of settled on the option that I'll get to here in a minute. So once again, that's kind of where we're at. So I've put a lot of time into it. I'm going to try to do the best I can to make it work, to kind of fix some of the problems that we had. So however we do it, it's going to be here, and the seats are what they are. So I can't increase seating. This is how many seats we have. I will say this, Dr. Cummins and we brought the fire marshal out. and we showed him the old blueprints of the plan that said how many seats were allowed in the stands, which was 2005, I think. And we said, hey, you already approved this when the building was built, so you can't take seats away from us. So he was good with that. And then we got a tape measure and we measured the floor and did all these things that the fire marshal wanted, and he gave us a certain amount of seats that we could have on the floor. So we were approved for around 2,500 seats, which is actually more than they had in here last year. Because last year, from what I gathered, he kind of said, how many of y'all have in there? And they said, I don't know. And he said, okay, well then that's enough. And so I got approval for the seats. That way we can be pretty upfront with how many people we can get into the building. So like I said, there still might be some bumps in the road, but it's not because of lack of effort. So I'm definitely trying to get everything. So Mr. Josh Moeller, he came and he said, yeah, this is how many people you can have, which is about 2,500. So I'll go ahead and answer this in a common sense mind and in an educator's mind and in your mind. Infant wouldn't count as a seat. In a fire marshal's mind, he don't care. A person's a person. So when I say seats and those things, any person is a person. So that's how he views that, if that makes sense. So yes, common sense wise and education wise, yes, we would think differently about that. But for him, he was great to work with, by the way. He was awesome. If y'all don't know Josh Moeller, he did a fantastic job with Dr. Cummins and I. But in his mind, it's how can you get out of here? That is his whole goal. So his goal is not anything else except for that. So a person is a person. So the plan that we settled on was each graduate would get 8 tickets, which are fast pass tickets. So we have the same amount of seats. We're just kind of evenly distributing them at first. I don't want somebody to not be able to see their kid graduate. So each graduate on the day of graduation practice will be handed their tickets. They each get 8. We'll have some seating on the floor for parents, and then we'll have seating all through here. We will take out a couple of these chairs like these two ladies are sitting in. That'll be for wheelchair access. We're going to set up some stroller parking so you can put it over there. And so we'll have kind of all that set up. But so if you have a fast pass ticket, we haven't designated the time yet. We are working on that. We're trying to get all the logistics lined out after we have these meetings. But pretty much for an hour and 15-minute window, whatever it may be, whoever has a ticket can get in, come in, sit. Obviously, you can't save seats, otherwise it's defeating the purpose. You come in, you sit, we fill it in the best we can, and then when that threshold's over, then it just becomes first come, first serve until we are full capacity. And then I will try to keep as accurate a count as I can so that we can have the total amount of people in here, and it's going to get hot extremely fast with 2,500 people in here, but we will do the best we can. And then eventually, I might sneak in some extras, and then Mr. Josh Moeller will probably tell me, all right, that's it, then he'll cut me off. So I'm going to do the best I can to get people in here and have some access and back the stage up a little bit and have to where you can really view graduation from everywhere that we can. So if you've ever been to Disney World or Six Flags or anything like that, this is a fast pass. You get to kind of walk to the front. A big problem that happened last year, maybe not a problem, but to some of you it might have been if you were standing behind them. 2 people are in line and then their family walks up wearing the same t-shirt, about 18 of them, and they get in front of everybody, right? And then we have an English teacher out there saying stop, and that's not their job to stop a whole crowd of people getting in the line. So it was tough for them to deal with. So we're just kind of equaling it out. With the tickets, that doesn't mean there's less seats. It just means those 8 people get in first, and then if you have more family that wants to come, they can line up at 7:30, or I think people started lining up last year at 7 from what I gathered, but they can come line up, and then it's first come, first serve. And there'll probably be anywhere, depending on the number of graduates, anywhere from 200 to maybe 450 extra seats in here after that. So that's just how that'll work. So you might not get to sit with all 25 of your people. That doesn't mean all 25 won't be able to get in. And then we always have the overflow seating out here, which we've had every year. They pull the screens down. They have it on Facebook Live. The sound in there worked fairly well, but there were a lot of people in there talking, so we got to figure that part out. But that's how that'll work. We'll also have a link on our webpage if you have a relative who's not going to fly in or anything like that, but would like to watch it. They can click on it and it'll pop up as well. So those are kind of, that's how the seating will work, that's how the lines will work. We'll try to have as much help here as possible to make it as smooth as possible, and that's how that will progress. If you have been here before, parking is a disaster when graduation comes. It's a big disaster. I'm doing a couple things to relieve some of it, but I don't even think it's going to take care of it, in my opinion. And when I've talked to everybody else, they don't think so either. But your graduates will meet at the junior high, whether you drop them off or in their own car at 8, or we're going to be on the bus at 8 and we're going to bus them over. That should save around 175 to 215 parking spots, is what we're hoping. And then teachers are also going to do the same. It is a teacher work day for our high school staff, so they might have to work a little longer, but it'll be good. So teachers will also park there and we'll shuttle them over, which should save another 75 seats somewhere in that regard. Our coaches will get here because they do handicap parking and they direct parking, but for the most part our staff will meet there as well. So that'll free up, I hope, close to 300 spots. And like I said, I haven't been to graduation here, but talking to people, 300 spots is good, but it's not going to cover the overflow that we have. So I would recommend getting there early and getting a parking spot if you would like one. But then if you're parked here, getting out is also tough. We are working with Officer Blackburn to, can we have control of the light when the ceremony is over? That way we can, because that's the thing, we can have a great flow, but once you hit that light, it stops. So we're going to try to get permission to have that during that time as well. So hopefully we can get this out of here as fast as we can and warn as many people as we can. Handicap parking, I'll put that out on the website. I'll share it with your seniors. I'll get it out as soon as I can. They usually pull, Dr. Cummins, where does handicap go? Is it bus loop? Here. Okay, so they'll pull up to the front and we will have coaches that help guide that. So if you do have somebody who is handicapped, they'll pull right up here to this student parking entrance. We have a golf cart, we'll relay them up and we'll help out the best we can. So I'll try to have a better map put out on the website when that gets there and you can see exactly where that is. If you can carpool, do the best you can. After graduation, your student does not have to get on the shuttle bus back to the junior high. They can go with you guys if y'all want to go to a lunch or something like that. If they are going to get on the shuttle bus, I talked to some students, they said they want to, even with their parents here, but they said they do want to ride back on the shuttle bus, get their own car. So if they do that, we will leave about 45 minutes from here and shuttle them back over so that they can take pictures and all those things. And after graduation, we will do the best we can to, you know, let people linger around and take pictures and all those things. So sound, if you've been here before and you were sitting somewhere in there, or even if you were on the stage, you couldn't hear. So we have hired out a company who is coming. They're going to tap into our sound system, but they are going to provide enough sound, even if they didn't have ours, they say, to where it works, to where it's effective and we can hear. So one thing I will say about the sound and being able to hear is when you cheer for your student, cheer loud, cheer proud, but not for a long time, because we're calling out somebody else's name pretty quick after. So try to do your best in that regard. I know it's very exciting time in your life, whether you're very excited that they're graduated or very excited that they're getting a job and moving on. So one of the two, going to school, whatever it may be. We're not going to allow balloons or signs in here this year. I think they have in the past, but then last year I think it got pretty out of hand and there's a lot of blocked views. So signs and balloons, if you could, just keep those at the house and those things. That way everybody can see. Noise makers, we're going to try to eliminate the best we can, but they're going to be in the pockets. So the other thing I'd ask is that you talk to your graduate about their expectations for behavior. You know, please don't have, you know, we're going to obviously check them. We'll have police officers here. We'll check them as well, make sure they don't have anything. Obviously, they're very smart. They know how to get things in anyway, but in some senior classes, don't do it. They have a great ceremony, and then sometimes one or two kids will bring it in, and they think it's funny at the time, but it really does turn out to look kind of bad. So I was lucky that my class, we didn't have anything really going on, but the class before me, they did, and I know the guy now, and he still kind of regrets kind of what he did. So, and we talked to the students that if they do become a huge disruption, we will probably have them leave the ceremony. So we do want it to be a great ceremony, but we want them to have fun at the same time and cheer for their friend, but not over the top. And we'll reiterate some of that stuff when we visit with them. We'll get the dress code guidelines out to them. We've already kind of talked to them a little bit, but the boys will pants, dark shoes. They can have boots, but you know, don't come from the pig barn straight here. Let's wash them a little bit and clean them up. But they can have boots by all means. Girls can wear dresses. They don't want to wear a really long dress that hangs past their gown, right? Am I right about that? Yeah. So it just doesn't look as good. Be careful with the heels. I know they want to look nice and hug their friends and take cute pictures, but when they walk up that ramp, that hill might be something they regret. So you know, be careful with those. But we want them to come. They'll have their gown on. Boys need to be shaven within the dress code and just look neat and appropriate as they go through it. So, and I know some kids won't have flex, so we won't see them for a couple weeks, and then they will show up just at graduation practice. We'll be like, whoa, you're a different person. Let's trim that up. So they need to be in dress code by the time the practice rolls around. So, and I did talk to the kids. If you are coming straight off the lake, please show up to practice in dress code as well. So I know some of them will be starting summer already and having a good time. But we do want them to be in dress code. It's kind of the last, like I told them, it's the last time I'm gonna get on to you about the dress code, you know. So it'll just help it go pretty smooth. That's the main information I have. I know that was a lot, and I know it was quick, and I know it was fast. I'm here to answer questions. Do not feel obligated to stay and listen to the questions. Like I said, in my faculty meeting, some people are ready to go and they go, and then some people want to ask questions, and that's how I try to treat this as well. If you want to go, feel free to go. If you have any questions, I will answer them one at a time as I go. I'm going to get heckled by my counselor right off the bat. Oh, okay.
Just before it gets asked. I'm Callie Litton. I'm one of the counselors here. Cap and gowns are ordered. They've been shipped to Balfour. Balfour is expecting them the week of April the 13th. I know it's a little bit later than we want, but there's just a few things that cause the delay. Then as soon as Balfour gets them, they'll ship them to us, and we'll get them out to the kiddos as quickly as we can. But that's about the expectation on that. They come packaged. Don't wait until the morning of graduation to have them open it, and also don't iron it. The material that they make the cap and gowns out of now, the irons just melt straight through them. We had several last year get melted. So it needs to be steamed if you can. We'll have steamers up here the week of flex for the kiddos if they want to come by and get them steamed before graduation. That would be awesome.
And just in case the camera didn't pick it up, like she said, cap and gowns will be here April 13th that week, hopefully. And yes, do not iron them. We will have steamers up here both weeks of flex, so bring them to us. We'll put them on the hanger for you and take them home with you and hang them up and keep them nice and neat. When they ride the bus over, they'll still want to carry them on a hanger. We're going to try to order enough buses so that there's not 3 to a seat or anything like that. They'll have some room, but that way they can hold on to it. And also the day of graduation, we keep the kids in the auxiliary gym and we line them up, and Miss White gets all that set up and we walk in and have all that. So parents won't be allowed in there on the day of before graduation, and then afterwards, by all means, we can take pictures wherever. But yes, we will steam those for you. Bring them up here. Let us do that for you and help you out if you need us to. And I think last year a girl did burn hers with an iron, so just 2. So just let us steam those for you. We'll be glad to help you out. Yes, ma'am.
So I know we all get 8 tickets. So if I know I have 8 tickets, can I just wait and show up at 9:30?
Okay, so she has a good question. I don't have the time specifically out. So how the tickets are going to work is probably we start at 10. It's probably going to be somewhere from 8:15 to 9:15, 8:15 to 9:30, something like that. That's when you can get in with your ticket. And then at 9:15, something like that. Like I said, I don't have the official times yet. At 9:15, that's going to be the first come, first serve. And then it won't matter if you have a ticket or not. Then you're just going to be in that first come, first serve line. So the ticket goes away after the, that's right. And then it becomes the first come, first serve.
And I've had a couple graduate already, but one of the issues that I've seen, because there was a lot of seats available, but the faculty weren't allowed to let anybody in. They would be like, oh, no, you can't come in. We were told after a specific time no one else was allowed to come in, or like grandma went to the bathroom at, 9:30, and then
I think once they start calling names, I think they do kind of stop it. Yeah, No, the only reason we wouldn't let you back in is if we get told, you know, we get told to stop. But if you've already were in, we'll have a system of getting you out, stamped, and back in. So hopefully we'll have that. Yeah, I'll pass. We'll give you the red clipboard.
My question, you said children meet or students meet at the junior high. What if you're a single car family and like my son doesn't drive, and so I've got to leave my line here and go take him to the junior high, or find some?
We will have somebody at the junior high pretty early, so you could probably drop them off there and then come here.
6 a.m. or 7?
Probably 6:30. We'll probably have somebody at 6:30 at the junior high. So 6:30, there will be somebody there at the junior high and waiting, and you can drop them off and then get up here. So
if we have the fast pass, and you say that we can get here at.
But people,
you don't know time?
Sure, even people with the fast pass will start lining up pretty early to get that.
I was here at 8 with my first child.
Yeah.
I was one of those 7:30 people.
That's
last
right.
year.
It gets crowded, but I am trying to even that part out a little bit. Yes, ma'am.
The same question she had. You're saying everybody, regardless of having the pass or not, is going to start lining up at 7:30, whatever. What is the point in having the
So this side of the door entrance will be for the tickets, and then we start letting tickets in at 7:45, let's say. Well, then at 7:45 you have a ticket, that line will start moving, and then the first come first serve line will be over here. 9:15, all right, they can go in as well. Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying that if you get here at 7:30, you get in the line, you can still start coming on in here? Is that what you're saying?
If you have a ticket.
Right, if you have the fast pass.
Yes, once we start that time, whatever it is, they'll start coming in, and then there'll be a separate line for people who don't have tickets, and they'll wait until we let them in, then they'll come in, first come, first serve, and go that route.
So let me ask this question. What if the line is still going in that fast pass at 9:15? That line has
That line will clear out first.
Okay.
Yep. And that's why we're...
Because I mean, if I'm here at 7:30 and I'm still at the back of the line, 9:15, everybody else...
Yes, no, that won't...
Well,
if you're in line for the ticket line, we're going to finish that line up, and then start it. Now, if you come with a ticket after that, then it'll be kind of hard. But at that point, we'll definitely finish that side up. And we're going to try to make it to where there's enough time to get that going. Yes, ma'am.
Can I get my 14-year-old here early and go ahead and reserve the remaining 7 seats? Since we'll have the 7 tickets and just come here a little later.
We're trying not to allow saving seats, so that'd be hard. Yes, ma'am.
So there's not going to be a policy of saving seats?
Yes, we don't want seats to be saved. We want to try to come in there. We want the body to be there, so that's kind of what we're going to try to do, because it's always hard for us to judge that, so it makes it difficult.
Okay, in my group of 8, I have an elderly grant. I mean, my father's 74 and cannot stand or walk. So I'm bringing a camp chair for him to sit down in line, and then I have a husband that's kind of disabled. I'm bringing a camp chair for him to sit down in line. Or am I going to be yelled at because I've got people who cannot stand in line until you open the doors?
No.
And I'm dragging them up here when I come camping out.
No, Dr. Cummins and I have talked about what we want to do there. If somebody is handicapped in line, those things, especially if they have a ticket or something like that, we might bring them in until you get here and then let them come with you, if that makes sense, instead of having them just sit there. So that's kind of our plan with that. So, yes, ma'am.
Can kids give away their 8 tickets?
Oh,
if
yeah.
they don't need them all?
Yeah, they don't say their names on them. I've been somewhere where 10 tickets was all the kid got, period. Like there was no, like if you didn't have a ticket, you didn't come in the building. And yeah, they started getting scalped right there after graduation practice. Kids. Yeah, that's right. So, that's right. People, and that, I know kids have already actually started talking to each other about that, but no, they won't have a signed name on or anything like that. And we do give it to the kid at graduation practice. So, you know, what we don't want is, hey, can I have my half, and then she can have her half? You know, we give them to the kid, we give them their 8, and we go from there.
Are the academy kids graduating with the other ones?
Yes, ma'am. The academy kid, we have 202 LHS graduates, and at this moment we have 24 academy graduates. 40 have graduated, 24 are walking, and then we have around 30 in the program right now, but all of those won't finish. So those are, and last year there was a large group that graduated from the academy, and this year it's a little less. But that also, as that number fluctuates, that fluctuates how many first come, first serve get in after that. So that'll kind of dictate that part.
Was that ever a consideration to just do that at a separate time?
Yes. I'll explain my reason to it. I explained it to the committee a little bit and to the board, and I'll just kind of use the same reasoning. Before I got here, students in the academy were already told that they walk just like regular graduation. They were already presented that. I didn't feel like I could come in and take that away since that was something that they were already given. I felt that wasn't okay for me to go to a parent and change kind of what we had said. That is something that we are discussing for the next year. Because this year, people were already told that's what they get to do, and I just left it how it was because that's what those parents had already been told, and then, yes, that is a consideration moving forward. Answer. Ms. Pulley, Joe, question?
So you're saying only these doors right here will be open, we're not letting them in the front or back by the back doors this year, strictly these doors right here? I don't know how you're...
We haven't organized all that yet either, but probably...
Way back by the church.
Yeah, we'll probably have, I mean, these are the main... Because these are the main entrances and where you come in. I mean, especially after we start the time, once you come in, you still have to walk to these two doors to get in here. So
probably we can open those once Fast Pass is finished.
That's right. So there'll be, I'll get that lined out. Miss White has done this for a while, and she's got some pretty good information. And actually having these meetings helps me a ton. I've already taken 3 notes, and any feedback that I get helps a lot. So that's what we're continuing to do, and that's a great point. So we will have that figured out, because there are some things that I still haven't seen. You know, I've just only heard. So sometimes I hear something like, "Oh, I didn't even know that that was an option." So that's good.
Is the band going to perform?
Well, they've had the same recording for the past bazillion years.
Yeah, the same recording, and then all the performance stuff we haven't got to yet. We're kind of we have that on our agenda to talk about and on our calendar, but we haven't hit all that yet.
How does the number pursuant to the fire marshal?
Yes. I think we calculated like 264 in the student section, and then he kind of gave us whoever's on stage. He just counted, and then another 256 chairs back there, and then 2,005 in here. So that comes out to right at 2,500. Yes, ma'am.
My son is with the National Honor Society of High School Students. Are they allowed to wear their tassels? We've ordered it, and someone said that it had to be approved, but I know there's many students here who are members of that.
I think the NHS...
National Honor Society with the school. It's the National Honor Society of High School.
So the cords that are allowed to be wore, I might be wrong, I haven't fully dove into this, but most places it's already board policy what they have and what's set, and we will put that in for the students, because a lot of them have a lot of different cords, but kind of whatever the policy is are the amount of cords that they're allowed to wear. So I don't know that specific one. I'll look up what cords we have, and like I said, those whatever's kind of on that board policy is where we go with cords. No hat decorating. That's something the kids really want to do, because that's kind of a big social media fun thing, but we don't decorate hats. That would cause us to look at a lot of hats and then try to figure out the inside joke and figure out if it's appropriate and all that. So no decorating hats. Afterwards, decorate it up, put it in a shadow box, but for the time being, just the normal repertoire. Yes, ma'am.
This is kind of to do with, last year y'all had the kindergartners and the seniors walking together through through the schools.
Oh, the senior walk?
Yeah.
So we are looking at doing the senior walk again. It is a cool tradition. Trying to find the date right now is very difficult, because where STAR testing falls and where our flex starts. So we're at a really weird calendar spot. We've sent some dates to elementaries, and during STAR week, they're obviously going to say absolutely not. So we're kind of trying to find a date that we can get. So Mr. Chef Cassidy is still working on that. We do want to do that. We think that's important, especially here at Livingston, for these kids to see these graduates and the graduates. They, you know, their ego needs to be boosted a little bit, so it's pretty cool for them. But right now we haven't set a date on that. So we would like to do that again.
Would parents be allowed to see that, or no? Is it just the students going through the school?
Gosh, I don't know. That'd be up to the other campuses, really, because I'm not in charge of another campus. I would guess they probably wouldn't want a bunch of parents coming to their campus.
Well, and they record it.
Yes, Ms. Birdwell does. She does an awesome job.
Ms. Birdwell records it. I know I take pictures at my campus, and they're social media'd out.
Yeah, we want to do it. We're just trying to find a good time for it. So, battling schedules, and state moves star all around, and our star's the last week of May now, so it's our EOCs, so a little more difficult. Anything else? I do want to thank you for coming. Like I said,
and thank you for having these meetings and getting us prepared early.
Yes,
ma'am.
Very much. I appreciate that, and I'm trying to share the message on Tuesday coming up, April the, I don't even know what Tuesday is, 3rd. I'm going to have a lunchtime meeting, so people who can't make the evenings at 12:30, and then April the 4th, Wednesday night, I'll have a makeup meeting for last Wednesday. We're going to get this put out. If you have any questions, feel free to, you know, if it's about the procedure and those things, shoot me an email. If it's about GPA, graduating, hey, my son does want to go to college, can I take the SAT? Email those to our counselors. And Miss Litton will answer questions here in just a minute. She probably wants to go watch her husband play some baseball here in a minute, or coach some baseball, but she will answer some questions. And I appreciate you guys coming. We're trying to get everything we can. Like I said, there's always bumps in the road with graduation, but it won't be from lack of effort. So I'm definitely trying to make it as great as I can, and then evaluate it each year as we go. And I know this group's kind of test pig, so I appreciate that. But I also just appreciate your seniors. We have class meetings in line time ever so often. Seniors are always pretty well behaved, and they attend. We don't have to go look for them everywhere. They're actually here and paying attention, and they ask questions and they argue, and I like that. So we appreciate the seniors and what they've done for our campus this year. So if you follow the Livingston Facebook, our seniors are all over the place with some of the things that they're successful in, from ag to BPA to UIL to fishing club to everything else that we got. So it's a great senior class, and we want to make sure the ceremony is great. So we'll do the best we can in that regard as well. So I appreciate you guys coming, and if you have any questions for Miss Litton, she'll answer those as well.